Hello. Beep, 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 beep. Welcome to the Court of the Edijester. Good morning, good people of the Twitter lands, X, etc., Facebook, whatever it may be. Move over a bit here. That's right, make myself comfortable. Well, have I got something for you today? Yes. This is liable to make your legs go wobbly. It's just insane. Now, before we begin, some of you may recall the thrill of it all. The bunch of clowns over at WPath at one point stuck in a eunuch as a gender identity, and through the work of the Redux team, we discovered that it was connected to this weird forum where men want to have their bits cut off for sexual pleasure. Yeah, I know, doesn't make any sense either, but it is a certain type of man we're talking about here. So I've got for you today an NHS surgeon who had his legs cut off for sexual gratification. Yes, this man had his legs cut off for sexual gratification. I know. Don't look at me like that. I can see all these jaws hitting the floor here. This is one of the weirdest things I've ever come across, and I've got plenty to say about it. But before we do, if you can share, subscribe, buy me a coffee, the usual stuff, anything to help me keep going. But most of all, come be a warrior teacher in October. Very excited to get started on that. Now, Neil Hopper's former patients are demanding an inquiry to establish whether any of them had unnecessary surgery. Do you think? I certainly would be. It's very, very hard not to read this and draw a parallel with trans, because this is obviously flesh cult behaviour. And it doesn't take Superman to work out that we are dealing with a cult. I've said this a number of times, LGBTQ plus hands, knees and bumps and daisy cult, similar to the worshippers of Cybele, or if you will, the Skopsi from Russia, cults from a long time ago. He's been jailed for this for 32 months. After it emerged, he froze and amputated his legs for his own sexual gratification. Get your head around that. I suppose there's one positive. He'll save a fortune in shoes. Neil Hopper, 49, received $466,000 from insurers after claiming that injuries to his legs in 2019 were the results of sepsis rather than self-inflicted. You see, the whole thing is, right, that they don't get off on the fact that their legs are gone. They get off on the entire process. That's the depth of the mental illness. They get off on the entire process. Sound familiar? The vascular surgeon, who carried out hundreds of amputation operations and worked at the Royal Cornwall Hospital Trust for a decade, used dry ice to freeze his legs. His former patients are now demanding an independent inquiry to establish whether any of them have had unnecessary surgery. You're damn right. These people are wicked. Not the people that are demanding the inquiry, obviously. Truro Crown Court heard that Hopper, who was married with children, had harboured a long-held sexual fetish to have his legs amputated. Is this what we're dealing with? Isn't this bodily integrity identity disorder? Isn't that what we're dealing with? Isn't this whole thing about this kind of behaviour? Is it not in what this is rooted? He pleaded guilty to fraud and also to possessing extreme pornography. What a surprise. And he purchased that from Marius Gustafsson, who was described as the eunuch maker, after being jailed for leading an extreme body modification ring. Gustafsson, who lived in North London, carried out penis removals and other extreme amputation procedures, which were filmed and then uploaded online. They walk amongst us. What a sick man. Nicholas Lee, prosecuting, said the court that Hopper had bought 3 videos from the eunuchmaker.com website for £10 and £35 respectively, showing men willingly having their genitals removed. Nut jobs. Absolute unmitigated nut jobs. Sound familiar? He also exchanged around 1,500 messages with Gustafsson regarding his own amputations, including asking how much dry ice he used. It is evident from the messages that Mr. Hopper wished to become an amputee, and it was always something he had dreamt of. Something he has been obsessed with and had a sexual interest in becoming an amputee, Mr. Lee said. Gustafsson told Hopper he needed to immerse his legs in ice and dry ice for at least 8 hours and would need prescription painkillers, which he bought from the dark web. Unbelievable. Isn't it? Absolutely unbelievable. This is, I think, what we are dealing with, is this type of cult-like behaviour. Now, the interesting thing is that there is very few of the people that we would include in the trans umbrella who actually do this kind of dreadful mutilation. And when it's done on the NHS, which is appalling in its own right. But well over 95% of men don't make any changes at all. They just want to dress up because it's a fetish. This is just a more extreme fetish. It's paraphilia. That's what it is. That's what it all is. The court heard that Hopper's wife and children were away from their home in St. Ermey in Cornwall when he immersed his feet in dry ice on April the 15th, 2019. While doing this, he continued to message Gustafsson, telling him it's going to be awesome being a double amputee. He then sent Gustafsson a picture of his erect penis. He had his legs in dry ice, and he had an erect penis. I have said before, and it has been noted by many other more illustrious people than I, that this trans and LGBTQ nonsense is firmly rooted in BDSM. Firmly rooted in BDSM, and I believe there is an element of that going on, certainly. In this case, it is most certainly rooted in BDSM, and the most extreme forms. When paramedics were called to his home, they believed he was suffering from sepsis, and he eventually underwent a double foot amputation. A week later, surgeons carried out a further operation to remove his legs below the knees. It is apparent that Neil Hopper didn't tell the medical professionals, doing all they could to help him, the real cause of his injuries, Mr. Lee said. The court heard how at one point Hopper sent a picture of his bandaged feet to Gustafsson with the message, "It feels so cool, no feet." I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to say to you, and I don't know what I can possibly do that will stop this kind of insane man from doing what he does. Bear in mind, this is monumentally rare. But if the contagion of trans is rooted in BDSM and rooted in fetishism and paraphilia, then this all comes under the same banner. It is a cult. Of that, I am now absolutely convinced. It is a cult, and it needs to be dealt with as a cult. When I put up my article about how to end this, about what we needed to do, I bore in mind that I think it's a cult. I bore in mind that I believe we have to deal with this as if it is. And because it's a cult, it is a massive danger to society. And it's time we started treating it for that, is exactly what it is. Until we do, God help us all. Go read the rest of it. It's in the Telegraph. I'll see you later, all right? Go for a walk. Stop it. Stop it. Go on. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.